Moving along, we are coming up to a couple bends on the marsh. You can see in the background, the very background, that is Mount Nittany. So a lot of the water from Mount Nittany works its way after a rainstorm down to these streams. This is our first set of water right here. This is Bathgate Spring, and springs come up from out of the ground. This comes up not too far from here and then turns into, in this case, somewhat of a stream and brings a lot of water into the marsh. And we're continuing. You can start seeing in your peripheries or on the sides of the boardwalk lots of really big leaf plants. Does anybody know what that is? I bet you some of you do. That is the beginnings or the early parts of skunk cabbage. Skunk cabbage, a very common and important marsh plant. And you can see by the size of the leaves, this plant starts earlier than many of the plants in the marshland. It takes over, and it's actually a plant we like to see. It's a common plant in the marsh, and you can see it's all throughout the space and even more on this side. And as we move on, you'll see a ton more. It has a weird name, skunk cabbage, and many of you, if you've ever smelled it, it smells pretty rough. Not quite like a skunk, but sometimes very stinky. And the other thing is the cabbage part's a weird thing because this is not something you can eat. It would make you very sick. And if you see right here, this is a really big section of actually quite a good number of good plants. So many of those plants you're seeing that are tall, those are the dogwoods, and all the short ones, most of that's the skunk cabbage. And Jackson's getting away. And some more of the scrubby plants. This is partially important to the marsh. It's a shrub marsh, so these are important plants to see. All right, gotta get the dogs and taking a rest again. I want you to try to listen carefully. Hopefully you can hear some of the sounds that I'm hearing. I hear an oriole and I hear a red-winged blackbird. So I'm going to try not to talk and walk closer to where I hear the sounds and see if you can hear them. So just listen. Did you hear that? That's the oriole. I think it's the oriole. And there's Oreo came back. So we're at a really cool spot in the marsh. One of my favorite spots. You can see right around there, two bodies of water. The body of water coming in this way is called Slab Cabin. And the other one, this one over here, that is Thompson Run. And they come together, and a little bit lower they run into the bigger creek around here called Spring Creek. It's like the Penns Creek of the State College area. It's the largest body of water here, and all this water will make its way down to the Chesapeake Bay through the Susquehanna and a few other stops on the way. But that's one of the things that's in common between Penns Creek and Spring Creek, is that both end up in the Susquehanna, and all that water will end up in, just see a sandpiper, which you probably can't see in this little camera, but there's a nice little sandpiper flying away. Hopefully you can see that from us here, which is pretty cool. And you can really hear the oriole. Wish you could see it. So come on out and try to find it yourself. It's a really cool bird. Nice bright orange and black. And there he flies away, which you can't see. So there he is. Woo, gone. All right, so we're gonna move on to the other part. Jackson taking a rest again. And you will check out some other things that are happening in the marsh.